we got a lot to talk about, man. Free agency opened up earlier this week. A lot of rapid moves. So, I definitely want to talk about it with you. We guessed on some things we thought were going to happen, didn't happen. Some things we did think were going to happen, are going to happen. So let's talk about just overall impressions of free agency, Brandon. What did you think as far as the first week of free agency? What was your overall takeaways?
So far, I think it's been pretty good. Like it hasn't disappointed. There's been a lot of moves, a lot of action, and that's kind of what I want from free agency. I know free agency is like a longer period. It's longer than whatever the 3-day memorandum is, but I want everything done in those first 3 days. You know what I mean? Like, let me know where the big names are going. I hated I don't remember what year it was, but there's a few years back where we had to wait for, it was probably Kawhi, because we never know what the heck that guy's going to do, right? Like,
as we're doing right now.
We'll
right?
Still don't know. Yeah. Dang, I didn't even think about that. That's crazy. We still don't know where he's going yet. But yeah, like I don't want to have to wait for anything. And so that's why I've liked this so far. And I also like that teams have tried to get better. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like sometimes dudes just make moves to make moves, but like you can see like teams are trying to get better with a plan in mind.
Yeah, I mean, a lot has been talked about with the new changes in the NBA. Some people, like, we're kind of old school. The super team thing kind of is a new wave thing that LeBron kind of started in Miami. And it's here to stay now, man, because everybody seems to be creating like these super teams, and it's kind of exciting free agency wise. And like, obviously there's teams that are kind of rising to the top, and everybody's just like trying to combat the other super team, right? So it's pretty exciting as far as that. It's kind of like how we set up our video games. Like we put all the good players on the same team.
One team.
Right, exactly. And so that's been exciting. I think one thing that has been kind of cool is just it seems like teams are being more aggressive as far as like salary cap wise. Like there's all of these teams usually that are trying to dump salary and stuff like that. Seems like now everybody's okay with going into luxury, like paying guys, because that's the only way to be competitive now. You gotta have like 2 or 3 max players on your team to be able to compete.
Yeah, I mean the Heat, they spend a buttload of money on just everything. Their payroll,
and the Lakers, right?
And the Lakers,
and that's all to compete with what the Nets did. So so yeah, we got a lot to talk about. Let's start off with just talking about the positive, man. So what are the moves? Some of the moves that you like the best?
Now, this is probably going to shock you, but my absolute favorite move was the Suns picking up JaVale McGee.
What? Only you would pick the backup center.
Well, I'm going to tell you why, because it's the only thing needed, right? Like, what was the whole knock on them throughout the whole finals? Man, if they only had somebody to back up DeAndre Ayton. And JaVale McGee can come in for 10, 15 minutes and play a solid backup role and be cool. And so I feel like if you're getting what you need to help improve your team, that's the best kind of moves you can make.
And he plays similar style as DeAndre Ayton, right?
That pick and roll,
pick and roll, solid defense, and
probably has
that's
better
good.
hands.
But yeah. And, JaVale is going to bring championship mentality. He's won chips with Golden State. He's won chips with the Lakers. So,
and if
but that being the most impressive move,
you didn't say impressive. You said your favorite. What move I like the best?
Okay, you're right.
Hey, I learned. I read the questions very carefully. I said, what is the exact wording? I don't want to be messing it up again.
The fact that that's the move you like the best is ridiculous.
They're the best team in the NBA, the Suns, baby.
Oh man, obviously Chris Paul is his favorite player, guys. If you don't realize why, the Suns backup center for the Suns is his most favorite move. I think for me, it's the Kyle Lowry move to Miami. I think the Miami Heat were desperate for a point guard, and they got their point guard. I know we spoke last week or maybe a few weeks ago. You were telling me, I didn't know this, that Lowry and Jimmy Butler are really good friends.
Yeah, they're good friends. Yeah.
So I think that's going to work out extremely well. Obviously, we're going to talk about, the teams that we think, did really well. But that move, I think, is exactly what they need to get back into that top 3 with
him
the
and
Nets in Milwaukee. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry.
As far as just like being able to compete again, right? Because Milwaukee and the Nets have kind of separated themselves as far as the moves that they made last season. And I think Miami definitely needed to make a move because if they came back with the same team, they were not going to be able to compete. So making a move like Kyle Lowry, going out there, signing him for 3 years, at 30 million. Dude, these old guys are still getting money,
paid,
man.
Yeah,
like
Chris Paul, he's getting 30 million for the next 4 years. He'll be 40.
No, I saw some weird stat or some crazy stat that after his year 40, when he's 40 years old, he would have made just under $500 million in just contracts.
Yeah, that's insane.
And we're not even talking about State Farm money. We're just talking
about basketball money, right?
How do you feel like these? I think with science and technology and the way these guys are taking care of themselves too, I imagine these guys are still going to be productive players later on in their contract. Maybe not the superstars that they used to be.
As explosive, you know what I mean? But I think because both of them have solid jumpers. I mean, Chris Paul's jumper is just money. It always has been. But Lowry's isn't weak either. And he's still a smart defensive player. The only thing, they just probably won't be able to get by people with that first step. You know what I mean? But they're still savvy veterans. So I don't see it hurting them too much. Look at Luis Scola, who's 8,000 years old, playing over there in Europe, and he's still getting buckets nonstop. You can't stop him. So
I mean, it's a little bit different game
over there. But the fact that he can still prolong it, and keep playing, I bet you can come over here and get buckets in 10 minutes a game.
That's a future Spur, because those are the perfect Spur type players. But let's talk about a few other moves. What else did you like about this offseason so far?
Oh man, the other moves that I like this offseason, I mean, I've liked. We might get into some of my other answers here, but I like the Bulls. I like some of the stuff the Bulls have done. You know what I mean? This bringing in DeRozan is kind of weird because him and Levine are kind of the same player, but I think it could work out in the sense DeRozan can be their half court player because he really improved his pick and roll game in San Antonio. His passing numbers went up. So if in transition you got Lonzo and Zach LaVine handling that, pushing the tempo stuff, but when the game slows down, it's all right, now DeRozan and Vooch, it's your turn to run the offense. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's a good what's a
combination?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and I think that really works because Lonzo is there, and I think Lonzo is going to really break out in with the Bulls because this is the best team that he's been on as far as the type of pieces that really fit with him. Because like you said, I think with a guy like LaVine, he's going to be able to run that transition game with him, and we're going to see some pretty crazy alley-oops, with him. And then Lonzo is the fourth, maybe even fifth option scoring wise, Vucevic, LaVine, DeRozan are all going to be considered more, scoring. So Lonzo's going to get a lot of open looks. He's really going to have a lot of people to be able to pass the ball to. And this is the first, spot that he's going to be in where he's not competing against anybody to take the ball down, right? And when he was with the Lakers, LeBron, he had to compete with LeBron. When he was with the Pelicans, he had to compete with Ingram. He is the ball handler on this team, right? Everybody else is more play off the ball. So I think this is going to really give him the confidence to be I am the point guard of this team. We already kind of know he's not the superstar scorer. He's not that aggressive guy, but he could play in that where he could just feed guys. That's what he loves to do, and I think this is going to be a great opportunity for him.